And this argument has been made over the years. Okay. But you also remember, Ms. Owusu, that at the time, even when the event was ongoing, there were huge issues, for example, when it came to accreditation, the tax, and some of those ones, for which even the committees, the subcommittees of the local organizing committee had to come and defend. The concerns initially, when the tournament started, even about food, the lack thereof, the quality, the unavailability, again raising concerns, of course not getting traction. And so in real time, there were real issues. And so this should not come as a surprise, is that not it?
I mean, let me first of all thank TV3 for making this particular issue a live issue.
Why is it important?
Because I can count not less than 4 occasions where we have discussed this issue here. And I'm very surprised that my brother Zato seems to be surprised, because he himself has been on this table where we have discussed it, where we were pointing to $15 million used for preparing watch. Did you not say it here? That campaign that belongs to Bediatuo's wife. Did you not say it here? You understand? But a man cannot be careful until he is faced with the reality. You see, this morning,
the man cannot be careful
until he's faced with the reality, the corruption reality. Zato is so calm. Alfred is so calm. They are now preaching. I see the body language. I say, Christ in me, the hope of glory. You see how they are calm?
Christ in you, the hope of glory. They are calm.
Yeah, so calm, because they know it goes to the core of their party. We are discussing the new patriotic party. We are discussing members of their party who have been cited as being involved in corruption. Huge one, gangam one.
In your view, what should be the substantial point of discussion for this report?
The substantial point has to be how, as a country, we will be preparing to haul all these people before the law courts, retrieve our money, bar them from taking part in active public life, and then we are free. You see, you are faced with blatant Thiévery, and you are telling us what? We should go and resort to internal auditors. To do what? There is a reason why you are the minister. For Christ's sake, internal auditors, they don't sign checks.
Well, his argument is that the minister is at the apex. He doesn't do the day-to-day.
Who approved the contracts? Was it the internal auditor? For instance, the decision by the GBC not to go to the procurement authority, but rather went there after the games were done. Who took that decision? So if you went to the GBC right now, you say I should go and attack a common internal auditor, Professor Lassanin. When the report had suggested or had recommended that he set charge and also subject himself to, what's the name? Section 92 of Procurement Act. By the way, I think that they will also, they are liable to criminal prosecution under that act. If
Procurement Act?
Yes, if you were to read, this is the section that they have asked them.
It's in Section 92.
92. If you
of the PPA Act.
Yes. That is where they say
any person who contravenes any provision of this commit an offense.
Yes.
When no penalty has been provided for the offense, the person then is liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding 1,000 penalty unit or a term of imprisonment not exceeding 5 years or to both. So people should be imprisoned.
No, so this is what this is what the auditors are recommending, that the state, and for remember this audit was commissioned by the president, the office of the president, and here let me give him thumbs up, only except to say that we have other 2 Gangantuan forensic auditor we have to do to conclude the deal with the NPP.
Which one?
I remember the banking sector. It was a total stealing. Thiévery.
21 billion.
This business of where they have been come here, Boulders report. Have you ever cited the Boulders report?
Snipers. I have seen snipers.
You have said it's a cook thing. Yesterday I took the trouble of going to even inside the office. You know where they are directed to me to? Traffic light at Jolu. The Boulders report that you people have been falling on, their office address leads me to the traffic light at Jolu. So we will come there. The president must go into that report and we will see worse things than this. But you see, we must not discuss this matter without going back to where we have come from. Remember on the 5th of February 2015, we were sitting out somewhere and former then candidate Akufo Addo decided to take part in the 50th anniversary commemoration of the death of J.B. Dankwa. Now, on that occasion, the president admonished all his party functionaries, those that he will be governing with, that if they were seeking money or they had intention of seeking money, they must see the public service as not the place for accumulation of wealth, and that the private sector was their place that they have to go.
You also said it at the swearing-in ceremony.
Absolutely.
Minister. What's your point?
So people had a lot of confidence in this, in the then candidate Akufo Addo, that given the opportunity, he was going to protect the public purse. What are we discussing here? This is blatant dissipation of state funds. That nobody must try to, as it were, conceal things. Now you go to the food. Let's do a simple mathematics of the food matter that...
Just food alone?
Just the food alone. Today, that
15 million?
That is crazy. And by the way, don't let anybody confuse you on this table that the game was well organized. It was never well organized. In fact, I have here my jaw online on the 10th of March 2024. You can read for the headline for your viewers to hear, so that we put it in perspective that it wasn't well organized.
A Ghanaian badminton player. We sat in the bucket of coach's pickup. I think I remember this one. But what's the point?
So you have just been told by the auditor.
His comparison is that if you compare it to the latest one, the extravagance is
unfortunately
better.
For him, I took part in that All Africa Games. I watched virtually all the games. I attended the games with my family because I love athletics. So when I hear somebody say that it was well organized, I'm like, hey, what are you telling us? Were you there? Nothing semblance of organization.
You don't see new stadiums,
The stadium you have been told, the stadium you have been told that even when there was rescoping variations, that it was supposed to reduce the cost of it, they rather maintain the figures. Now we need about $1 million to go and correct defects. Look, some of the room, you know about the table tennis, they had to come and play it at the Accra International Conference Center, because the facility was not ready. In fact, some of the equipment arrived after the games were over. So what are we talking about? Now you go to the food alone. This man, and I really like Leslie Addo. Leslie Addo, the badminton team, they were kicked out at the quarterfinal stage. But guess what the woman did? The one that did the what do you call it, budget for the food. He or she had assumed that there will be 4,500 people who will be in camp or will be taking part in the games for 24 days. And then fix the breakfast, no matter the breakfast, whether it was kelewele breakfast, whether it was cocoa breakfast, whether it was anything, she fixed the figure at $16.72. Now, Leslie is telling us that they were kicked out of the competition in the quarterfinal, so they were sent home. Meanwhile, Ghana was still paying for Leslie beyond the quarterfinal. Who does that? You go to land for at least 4,500. It's still 80. Whether or not we went out, a team went out in the quarterfinal or in the preliminary stage, the country was still paying this kind of figures. And that is why when they told us that...
So this is a composite budget. You do budget based on numbers participating, and then you do it to the end of the tournament.
But this is variables. You know, when you are dealing with a budget that has to do with variables, that people could be eliminated, you don't do a fixed budget. Who approves such a budget? For us to go and pay $50 million for food? Meanwhile, I heard the alleges from Ethiopia, Liberia telling us that they were not eating wache, they were not eating ampesi, they were not eating tuozafi. So what sort of food were they cooking there that amounted to this $18 million, $15 million? It was all chop. Nothing short of that. Don't let anybody confuse you. They say irregularities. What is irregularities and auditing? It's fraud, pure fraud. They have stolen from us.
Irregularities are
fraud.
Fraudulent activities.
That is what audit. Yeah, in auditing, when you say irregularities, it includes fraud. So nobody must confuse you.
Omu discount.
No. That is what a creator go say. No. Omu discount. Now you have a country like Ghana. See the way we are struggling. By the way, today, this morning, 300 Ghanaians are going to come from South Africa to this country to be integrated. The reason why most of them left the shores of this country is what has been captured beautifully in our in this forensic audit. When we give money to public servants, when we give money to politicians to manage it well, then they go and do all sorts of things with it. What was the business of the LOC paying Otuado from the All Africa Games?
The budget?
The budget. Otuado, who is a Black Stars coach, was paid from this budget. For what reason?
And Chris Hughton too.
Chris Hughton. Yeah. For what reason? And we are discussing it, and in fact,
it's a Ministry of Sports budget.
Ministry, this is the LOC. Remember, the tournament was to take place in 2023. Have you asked yourself why the tournament took place in 2024? Because Ghana has said that we didn't have money. So you have to go and beg the African Union to extend the time for us to organize ourselves properly. Now, as part of the reason why Ghana decided to host that games, they told the entire country that after the games, the facilities that will be put in place will be turned into a sports university, so that we will have a separate sports university. Go back to Botima and see what the rubbish that they did there. Whether it's something that you can say should cost you $145 million. You
are saying even that one should be looked into?
Hey, it has to.
New stadiums?
Look,
good facilities.
It shouldn't get anywhere closer to $70 million. That rubbish they have done there, you call it a stadium? Totally rubbish.
No, so you can.
Oh, where do you go?
Based on what expertise do you?
My goodness, I mean, can you tell you some levels of intelligence? That have you been there before? Go there today. Whether if you value it, we can even get $20 million from it. But somebody has taken that money from that. Now, in this audit, what they failed to do was to tell us who that PGS company, you know, GBC awarded a contract of €2 million to a supposed company called PGS. You remember that? I am disappointed that the audit did not go deep to find out who that PGS company is. Non-existing company. At that time, remember on this platform, we queried who were the PGS company. We never saw them because at the end of the day, contrary to the fact that PGS had signed contract with GBC and we were expecting the expertise, GBC rather used their own staffs to carry out all the activities. So whom were you paying? Whom were we paying? You have signed a contract with PGS at €2 million, yet at the end of the day, that contract was done by GBC staff. You understand? And who does that? Then we have people sitting down there and still going about their duty and still say they are public servants. No way, we cannot allow that to happen. So it's a matter that has to address. But I am very happy that they have recommended what has to be done, that we must surcharge Yusuf, we must search out Kate, we must search out Ofosu.
So that's where the concern is, for example, from Dr. Zato. As a policy person, he says that, well, you cannot say those individuals, the figureheads, the arrowheads, should take full responsibility when they have individuals who took up responsibilities in providing the services. So we, as
a country, we are going for the money from the minister, the director, and the LOC boss, and the GBC boss. What they can also do is that if they feel that the internal auditor chops from, go there and take it, add it, and bring it. What they are saying is that 583 million is in their pocket, and that we must take it. 580 for your information, 400 of it can build a new bank. Last time we were told by Group Indium that at the time their bank was collapsed, they had about 4,500 workers. That was even the savings alone. What it means is that 400 million out of that could open the bank, and we engage 6,000 of the youth who are in the house, and then the 100 million could open a savings alone, and another 4,500. This is what we are dealing with. So why must we go for any innocent internal auditor who takes instructions? We can't do that. By the way, I have seen the minister say, the former minister, Yusuf say that he will have his day in parliament. This business of the Public Account Committee trivializing things there. They must know that a time is coming that the Ghanaian will be so furious, will be angry at them. It's a matter of time. For him to be so comfortable that, oh, when it comes to the Public Accounts Committee, because we have seen a lot of MPs and former ministers who are also members of parliament, when they go there, because it's colleagues, they trivialize the matter. We are following this matter. How many years have we been following this matter? Since 2024. And your station, I give you the kudos for the good work that you have done. We as a country have a lot of things that we need. It is raining. Everywhere is flooding. That we need money to fix our problems. Everywhere, children are sleeping on their bellies in schools.
Why do you blame Mustafa Yusuf for this?
Why wouldn't I blame him when he decided to sign a contract for $50 million for water, when he decided to overprice? Look, I just read Leslie Addo's incident to you. How much did we say we rented the vehicles for? Was it not? We signed a contract of 45 million Ghana cedis in all for vehicles. Yet the badminton team could not get any of the vehicles to go to the bottom man, but rather sit at the back of a pickup. Hence their elimination at the quarterfinal. And you have to present this budget and we pay.
So only at the beginning.
No. All of it. Nothing serious was really happy. Where has the athletes? Where has the athletes? So where did the money pass? So you see, what I'm saying is that we must, as a country, be serious with some of these things. Any least opportunity, when there is a problem, people make this country out of that. And I believe that is not the right way to go. That when we were in difficulty and for which reason the games were postponed from 2023 to 2024, people took advantage of it. And not what? It was an election year. You see, some of these inflations, you would think it's an isolation. Remember, it's an election year that people need money to go and do all sort of things. And that is why you saw some of these huge figures. Two things that happened under the S1 administration. In 2023, remember the national service issue? Huge sums of money. What was happening there? It was internal elections. People needed money to prosecute it. Now we come to 2024, the 13th African Games.
In 2023.
The All Africa Games.
Then it was in April 2024.
No, it took place in 2024, and in 2024, the party then needed money, and some of these things. And when it happens like that, you think we should allow it to go scot-free? We can't do that. We must cause them to pay us our money. That is all that we need. We don't need anything else. But if he says that he's waiting for us at Park, we will watch Park and see whether or not Park will live up to expectation.
Well, if you look at the numbers, they are repugnant. If you look at the figures, they are disgusting. And if you look at the total sums involved, they are a complete indictment on the public sector and the public bureaucracy of Ghana. And I think that this report highlights something that we've always been suspicious of and we've always tried to look at. The fact that in this country, accountability is something we only take serious when it involves a politician or when the name of a politician is dropped. We only take accountability serious when we think that we can make a political gain out of the issues at stake. But whenever we feel that we cannot do that, whenever we feel that we cannot milk any political juice from that story, we let it hide. I want to go back to something that, a theory that I've always proposed and I've always defended. I believe in regime accountability and I also believe in post-regime accountability. The idea of regime accountability is that if your own government finds out, or whether you have done things that are against the rules and the regulations, that your own government should be able to hold you accountable for your acts and your inactions. But in a situation where your government is unable or unwilling to hold you accountable for what you've done or not done, then I'm happy and have no problem with a new government coming in and holding you accountable for that. Either way, if the objective is to hold you accountable for your actions and inactions whilst in office, I will never be against it. So you will never see me sit on air trying to justify something that's not justifiable or trying to provide refuge for wrongdoing. That's not my style. But then you come and look at this particular issue, and I'm beginning to ask certain questions, and important things come out. Where is the internal audit unit of the Minister of Sports? How come the Auditor General, they don't even mention them? How come? The minister did not leave his office to go to the person providing the food to go and negotiate that. The minister did not leave his office to go to the person doing that. Somebody did that. Who did that? Who did those negotiations? Why is it that this report has literally told the internal audit people, go, you are free, completely absolve them? Two, what about the procurement people? Is there a procurement office or department in the ministry? Aren't they the men and women who are trained, who have the long chain of certificates, trained to take care of procurement? Where were they? What did they do? This audit didn't tell us that anybody in that whole supply chain raised a red flag. This audit did not tell us that anybody who was working in the ministry, any of the professionals, I'm not talking about, I'm yet kind of, any of the professionals, any of the men and women who are paid to do procurement, who are paid to do internal auditing, who have chains of certificates from some of the best schools in the world working there, none of them, this audit has not told me that any one of them raised a red flag or said, don't do this, or this is the wrong way to do it.
Why is this important? Because they hold the minister responsible?
I'm telling you why. And I started by that. I'm saying that, you see, there's a long chain. And as a country, we do this to ourselves always. We absolve them. We tell them that it doesn't matter. We've got the big guy, that's all. And that is why you see this thing happen. Look, Alfred, you know this. Because we don't ask these questions. Where is the red flag? You mean nobody saw these things happening? In that whole chain. The Auditor General for his own audit, there's an internal audit there. I think they're accountable to him. How come nobody in the internal audit unit was able to see that something like this is going on? And for me, that is the bane of our accountability fight. That is the bane of corruption in this country. If you are lower to mid-level bureaucrat, you can do whatever you want. There will be a politician who take the fall for you. If you are a lower to mid bureaucrat, you can literally bend the rules, do whatever you want, and then later you can blame the politician because he'll be there to take from you. So these things keep happening and happening. Look at the top 3 people that are recommended for this. That the minister, who's a politician, the chief director, and the chairman of the LOC. My point is that that whole line, there's nobody else. Nobody else will be held accountable for this. If we are serious about our public bureaucracy, if we are serious about it, we must start holding proper level public servants, bureaucrats, accountable for their actions and inactions.
And not the political heads.
No, I'm not saying don't hold them. I'm coming up there. We must start to, because we only look for, last time I used this word, things that are sexy. It is sexy because it involves a minister, or a deputy minister, or a government appointee. Oh, then we'll go after them. It's sexy when there's a big name involved. Then we'll go after them. It is not sexy. If you listen to what is happening in the Public Accounts Committee, you watch. When it is those mid-level politicians, 1, there's a minister there to defend them. And 2, it's almost like it's a theater, it's a joke. But that is where the problems are. If you say that people were surcharged, undercharged, if you say prices were inflated, somebody went to check on those prices. Who was that? Where is that person's report? Did the person sign it? Who brought, if it's accommodation, who brought these things to the minister? Because again and again, I'm making the point, it's impossible to just say that one minister sat somewhere and literally oversaw all this, literally scrutinized all these documents. Reports were sent to the minister. Who sent those reports? And so we can do this. Today is this minister that we are going to what? We are shouting, crucify him, crucify him. Today it is this LOC chairman we are saying crucify him, crucify him. Today it's this chief director. But tomorrow we are going to see this repeated. That is why always and always when you see these things, always watch. There's always some few people at the top we catch. And then we leave all the others who do the real work there. My point is that if
you're saying the minister should go down with others?
I'm not saying minister should go down. I've not said anybody should go down.
You said the audit report should go down for everybody, capture everybody that was involved.
Oh, please don't.
I thought I was feeling very well. I didn't think that I need you to explain what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that...
I'm supposed to be asking what you want to. So the question I asked was that, so you are saying that the minister and the chief director, and who else has been named? Dr. Kweku Annan. They shouldn't be the only 3 people going down. We should have the others, internal auditors.
Good. I'm saying it's impossible for you, anybody,
other department heads,
to believe that these 3 people Still the very echelons of the descent were the only people who did all these things. Because, look, I've never been the head of an LOC before, but I want to believe that. He received reports. We want transportation. Somebody in the ministry,
apex.
yes, somebody in the ministry does the procurement. Somebody in the ministry comes to say that this is what we've done. Who was that?
There are levels of checks.
We want, if you are procuring for food or accommodation, there are people paid with public money who have, as I said, long chains of whose duty is this to go and bring them? Who are they? The point I'm beginning to make is that, and this doesn't sound fashionable, but it's the fact it's going to happen. We will see this is what is going to happen. So far, nobody has mentioned in the internal audit unit, nobody has mentioned the procurement unit, nobody has mentioned anybody else. Let's go and get it up. Then you see, well, before you realize it's going to be a negotiated settlement. Another thing, the audit report did not recommend any criminal prosecutions. So far, I don't know.
So what they do is surcharge or something like that. And that one also goes through a process of some level of judicial proceedings.
So what they are saying is that no laws were broken. So far, the audit...
They haven't said no laws were broken.
They've not recommended criminal prosecutions. I think that if a law is broken, you recommend criminal
So usually they surcharge.
They surcharge.
Yeah, surcharge means that bring the money.
Bring the money.
Yeah.
So that's an infraction.
That's an infraction, but it's not a criminal thing. I just want to know. There's a lawyer here, right? So there's no criminal. They've not found any criminality
Not
so far.
necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay. Here's the thing. Again, and that is the point. People are smart enough in that value chain to be able to do these things without breaking the law. They're able to stretch the law to such an extent, so that to absurd levels, to protect what they are doing and what they are not doing. And those are some of the things we should be looking at. Today is one minister. Today is one chief director. Today is one old LOC chairman. You will see this movie being repeated again and again and again whenever there's a change of government. My point is that the same Auditor General must look within. The men and women he seconded to the Ministry of Sports, do they deserve their salaries? Have they earned their salaries in this? Did they cover themselves in glory? No. The procurement unit at the ministry, have they covered themselves in glory? No. Have they earned their salaries for this? No. They have not done that. Unless and until we begin to say this, unless we begin to bring people up, we are always going to end up like where we are, blaming the heads, whilst the whole core of the bureaucracy is rotten. Ghana's corruption problem lies in a deeply flawed and sometimes corrupted public sector system that we policymakers and we commentators are unwilling to take on because they are not politicians and they do not attract the necessary headlines like they should do.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.